So, Andre Thomas here. I'm sitting here in Boston, Massachusetts, in my gym that I opened up probably about 6 years ago. I started training probably about 5 years before that. Almost 12 years of training. And then, I was blessed with the opportunity of opening up my own space. And so I'm happy you could join me here, but that's not really why I'm making the video today. Today I'm making the video because it's July 17th, 2018, and today is my 45th birthday, right? And I feel incredibly vibrant and young, and at the same time, nervous and anxious about what this next half of my life has in store for me, right? I think when you hit your 40s, it hit me in my 30s really, but you start thinking about mortality. You start thinking about when I'm gonna die and how I'm gonna die and what will I have? What will I have accomplished? All kinds of things, your health, your wellness, and all important stuff to think about, really. Really it's stuff that we should be thinking about to a certain extent when we're even younger, but because we're so invulnerable and in search of that instant gratification when we're young, we don't really think about 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now. And so it's not until we get to these ages where we start to really think about kind of, where have I come from and where am I going, right? And so, part of what I wanted to do with this video is to talk a little bit about kind of how I'm walking into my 45th year of existence. And I think it's important just because it's directly connected to my last 12 years in the fitness industry, kind of being a personal trainer, kind of having helped hundreds of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds, and having created meal plans and advised around eating and dieting and stuff like that. And so it's directly connected to that, right? And so over the last 5 days, I've been doing a fast, right? And fasting, detoxing, that's not new for me. It's something that I've kind of always done over the last, I'd say 12 years, probably even before that, right? Even before I decided to become a trainer. What makes this one different is after all the research and kind of reading and listening that I've done over these 12 years and implementing and trying stuff with myself, I finally I think I've come to a conclusion around health and wellness, longevity, aging, feeling great, looking great. I feel like I've come to a conclusion around it, right? And part of what I wanted to do is, as my birthday was coming, is really kind of walk into my 45th year of existence, having decided that this was going to be kind of what I was going to do or how I was going to live or what my approach was going to be, right? And so I want to talk about that, but also kind of talk about kind of what brought me to it, right? And then my plan is really to kind of, I think this epiphany, and I don't think it's really epiphany, but this knowledge that I've occurred and kind of have culminated into this time right now, I think many people can benefit from it. I think inevitably this is the kind of thing that can save people's lives, that can make people feel better, inevitably look better, perform better. But I think it's value added to this space that I've created, but also just the space of health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, so on and so forth, right? And so over the last 5 days, I decided to do a fast, right? And different than past fasts I've done, because I've done a lot of different kind of detoxing and fasts. This fast was very different, right? And it really was a test, because I'd heard about it in the past, but just was never really willing to commit to the idea. But as I got older and looked at my body and felt how I felt and thought about this age and kind of where I was going, it became more and more important for me to kind of figure it out, right? And so I looked into dry fasting, right? So over the past 5 years, I've been fasting without food and without water, right? No water, no food, right? And today, July 17th, 2018, I feel great, right? My mouth is a little dry, of course, but I feel great, right? I started it my last meal was Thursday night at midnight, right? So from Thursday night up until today, I haven't eaten anything and haven't drank any water, right? Now, most people, when they hear that, they think that, they automatically assume that that is a bad thing, right? And detrimental to my health and my well-being and so on and so forth. But as I sit here, I'm telling you personally, you know what I mean? That I feel incredible, right? That I feel great, right? And I don't do anything without having done some research. I'm not that kind of spontaneous person. Like anything that I do, you can be assured that there has been an in-depth kind of look into the concept that I'm walking myself into. And in most cases, before I introduce it to anybody, I am the guinea pig, right? Anything that I've done over the years that I have advised people on or whatever, you can be assured that it's something that I've done myself, right? So I've been doing the dry fast over the last 5 days, feeling great. I've lost 18 pounds it hasn't even been 5 days, actually. It'll be 5 days midnight tonight, right? And so it's been 4.5 days basically, and I lost 18 pounds. But the pounds wasn't really the goal, right? And again, I bring it back to mortality, right? Because ultimately, my goal as I get older is to be healthy, is to feel good, right? Is to not feel 45, right? And unfortunately, in this society that we live in, this civilization that we live in, you know, motherfuckers is looking older than they are. You know what I mean? And I probably do too, just based on the abuse that I've done with myself over the years. You know, I come from a background of smoking weed, drinking malt liquor at the age of 13, 14, right? Like totally abusing my body and shit like that. And fortunately, when you're younger, your body has the ability to kind of withstand some of that abuse. But as you get older, you can't avoid that shit, right? You really can't avoid the abuse that we put on our bodies. And so for me, coming into the fitness world, I knew that my body was a mess. And not just necessarily what you could see, but what you couldn't see, right? And most of us, you know, we may realize this or not, but, you know, what you see on the outside is an example of what's going on inside. So if you are overweight, if you're fat, right, then chances are that's a problem going on inside. If you got some issues with, what's internal shit? Cancer, diabetes, fucking women, y'all have these issues with fucking your gallbladders and your kidneys and fucking, what is this shit when you get these fucking tumors in your body? Like women, you don't know that is just from fucking food, man. That is just abuse of the eating and the choices in food. That's what it is, right? That's not how it's supposed to be historically. And when I talk about historically, I'm not talking about 500 years, 1,000 years. I'm talking about thousands of years. There's no history of women having those issues, right? Those issues are new, right? These issues of high blood pressure and diabetes and cancers and shit like that. All that shit is new with this European Western civilization bullshit that's going on. And so we got to think different, right? And part of where the fasting thing comes in is that historically, we've always fasted, right? We've always fasted. We've always been forced to fast, right? We haven't had all these luxuries of food and processed foods and scientific foods that have been created. We haven't had that. We hadn't had the luxury. So there was a time where when it was winter time, nobody fucking ate. You had to exist off of what you were able to eat during the feasting time of the year, so that when the famine time of the year came, you were ready and your body was ready. And the evolution of our body has made that possible. So when I sit here with you today saying that, you know, I've been doing a 5-day dry fast, meaning no water, no food, don't feel sorry for me. I feel sorry for you, right? Because I'm sitting here feeling great. I'm sitting here feeling 18 pounds lighter. I'm feeling any addiction that I might have had or whatever. I don't feel it. I haven't felt hungry in the last 3 days. I went to a barbecue. I went to a cookout this weekend, and there was food everywhere, food and drinks everywhere. And I didn't touch a thing, right? And it really, now that I think about it, I didn't even feel the pressure of touching anything. I went with my daughter, she ate, everybody around me was eating, but I didn't feel that pressure, right? So the moral of the story is that for me, knowing what I know over the past few years, is that we have to get to a point where we stop relying on the idea of food being our sustenance for living, right? Because it's not necessary. We don't need to eat every day. We don't need to eat 3 times a day. We don't need to eat 6 to 7 times a day. And I am guilty. I am fucking guilty of promoting the bullshit, right? I am guilty of promoting the bullshit, telling people that they needed to eat smaller more often, that you are not losing weight because you are not eating blase blah. The science is just not there. That's just not the science, right? Now you'll go online and have plenty of motherfuckers who can justify a rationale around eating regularly or whatever, right? Because it has worked for them or because it's in their best interest. They're making some money from it, right? But if you look into science, if you look into the history of science, if you look at the human evolution of man and woman, you will see that we are not eaters. We just don't eat like that. We're not supposed to be eating every fucking day, all the time. We're just not. And how do you know that? How do we know that? Because look around you. Look at these motherfuckers that are walking around. Look at yourself, right? We are out of shape. We are fat. We are sick. It's ridiculous. And it's because of our addiction to food, to sugar, the mental addiction to all this shit, right? And I'm just not with it anymore. You know what I mean? I'm just not with it. I'm not gonna advise it anymore. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna advise differently because I know different and I've known it, right? Like fasting is not new to me. And part of the reason why I think this fast has been easy for me, and it's easier for me to say than actually, I wouldn't advise you to do a 5-day no food, no fast from no food, no water from the jump, right? But it's because I have a history of fasting. Like over the years, over my 12 years, even more, I have fasted regularly, right? Not to this level, but I've fasted. I remember my first fast was the Master Cleanse. Now I'm sure you may or may not remember the Master Cleanse, but the Master Cleanse was this guy, I think Beyonce might have kind of promoted it at one time, but I looked it up because I was getting ready to go to Miami and I needed something that was gonna make me lose pounds quick, right? And being a young trainer who all I knew at the time was eat, take supplements, and lift heavy shit, right? That's all I knew, right? I didn't know nothing about nothing really. I didn't know about evolution of man and how we used to eat and shit like that, you know what I mean? And I'm a fairly conscious guy, but not to that level, right? But it was pure vanity to do the master cleanse. That's it. I wanted to go to Miami at, my regular weight was 220. I went to Miami at 195, right? Cut up, just ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? And that was the goal. But it seemed, in hindsight, silly, right? I was eating lemon water, maple syrup. I was doing these saltwater flushes, so I did master cleanse before. I did a juice detox, right? So my boy Carl, who I went to high school with, he started a business called Juice Hugger, and it was making organic juices, right? And basically, it was, again, I wouldn't say it was, this time it was more about being able to safely advise my people that were coming to me as for help with their weight, getting in shape, losing weight. I wanted to be able to use the juice detox as a way to help people detox. I knew that we were sick. I knew that we were unhealthy, and I knew that we had to find ways, alternative ways to eating and living in order to deal with that shit, right? And so I did a juice cleanse. I did a juice cleanse for about 14 days, right? I did a 14-day juice cleanse where there was no food, just juicing, right? I wasn't even eating fruit then. So I did that. I've done the ketogenic diet. I've done the cabbage diet. I mean, I actually did the cabbage diet even before I did the master cleanse. I remember now, and my grandmother hit me to that. It was some like religious thing that she was doing, and she was just like, "Oh, I lost a bunch of weight," and I was like, "Oh, I need to lose some weight. Let me just eat cabbage all fucking day and every day." And I think I lost some weight. I can't even remember, it was so long ago. But nonetheless, I say all that to say that part of why I think I adjusted well to the no food, no water idea was because I have a history of fasting. I wouldn't advise anybody to do 5 days or more days of no water, no food, right? I would say there's a progression, you want to get to it. But ultimately, I think it is about short and long-term moments where we're not eating, right? Because once you understand the science, once you understand that all this shit sitting around your stomach, around your ass, your thighs, your arms, is fat, right? And fat is a fuel, right? Food is a fuel, right? You start to realize that when you don't eat, your body will still use energy. It will still find fuel. You will not die, right? That all the calories and what you have eaten is in the fat that you have on your body, and that your body will use that fat. It will burn it. It will use it as energy to allow you to sustain, to do what you want. And if you're really fat, you can really fast, right? If you're leaner, then, you might want to do, that fasting during the day and eating one meal at night, or fasting one whole day then eating the next day. But if you're 20, 30, 40, 50 or more pounds overweight, then you should not be eating. You should stop eating, right? For real, stop eating, right? Because your body has plenty to use, right? Now, will it be hard? Is that easy to say? Of fucking course, right? Because we're mental slaves, right? We're addicts, right? Your brain kicks in, tells you that you're hungry, right? Because why? Because you're used to eating, right? We have these internal clocks that go off that when we are eating breakfast every morning, and guess what? Every morning you're gonna wake up fucking hungry, right? If you're used to eating 5 to 6 times a day, then guess what? You're hungry 5 to 6 times a day. That's just how it works, right? And when you stop eating, guess what? Your hunger subsides, Now, the dry fast, right? The dry fast that I'm doing is no food, no water. And when I say no water, I mean no internal or external water. I haven't taken a shower in 4.5 days. 4.5 days, right? And normally, I would be sounding off. I would be stinking. I don't smell bad, right? And part of the reason why that is because my body is fairly clean on the inside, relatively. Relatively. That's me talking shit. I don't know that, right? But I know that when I've been eating and drinking bullshit, that when I didn't take a shower, you could certainly smell Dre coming in the door, right? And so to have gone almost 5 days and not be wincing from my own stench, right? It's pretty amazing, right? And so I'm saying this to you guys in part because it's my birthday, right? And I like to give gifts on my birthday as opposed to get gifts. I don't really want anything. A happy birthday is enough. But for me, it's really, about having lived a life where I have learned a lot, right? And because I have learned so much, I feel a responsibility to share what I've learned, right? And having spent time in a particular genre for so long, being health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, and having studied and researched and done all kinds of shit, right? I feel even more of a responsibility, right? Because my name is out there as a person to go to help lose weight, get in shape, blah, 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 right? I know that our problem has been, right, and always will be until you take responsibility for it, is our relationship with food, right? And it's a fucked up relationship, right? It's not right, it's wrong. It's such a bad relationship. Psychologically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, it's a bad relationship, right? And what has made it even worse, right, is the fact that you have a society that has been built on capitalism, making money, right? And so now they have figured out a way to coerce you into eating more often, making choices in what foods to eat, blah, blah, blah. And it is killing us, right? It is keeping us fat, right? Part of the reason why I felt a little bit of disappointment in myself is because I have worked with so many people. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people who have come to me around guidance and assistance around getting in shape, losing weight. And I've been helpful, right? But long-term helpful, I don't think so, right? We have like these challenges here at my gym where, for 12 weeks, people are on this weight loss challenge and I give them a meal plan and they're eating a certain way and blah, blah, blah. And, many people lose a ton of weight, right? 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds, right? I'd say 90% of those people go back to their original weight or worse. 90%, right? I think there's about that 10% who don't, but 90%, that's fucked up, right? And it's fucked up. And no reason why it's fucked up is because of me promoting the idea of eating as a way of being healthy. The only way for us to truly be healthy in this society that we live in is not to eat. Is not to eat. Is to make choices, to make times in our days, in our weeks, in our months where we are not eating. Because we have plenty of fucking fuel, right? And for all you motherfuckers that's gonna talk about burning muscle or whatever, it's just not how the body works, right? If you understand the science, talk to me about the shit when you understand the science, right? Because if you understand the science, you'll realize that fasting has always been a part of our health and our wellness, right? Motherfuckers in Germany are curing cancer from people who, because they're not eating. They're taking away food, right? If you know that anything that is foreign in our body, that is parasitic, worms and shit like that, that every time we eat, we feed that shit. We feed it. There are videos of people in other countries who are doing surgeries of people's intestines, pulling out handfuls of fucking worms out their fucking intestines because of the feeding that they've done over the years. We have no clue because we don't go in there, right? We assume that if we're not fucking dying, if the doctor ain't say shit, then we're okay. You're stupid. We are so fucked. And we're feeding the parasites. We're feeding that shit on a daily basis. And they're getting bigger and bigger. And then they turn into tumors and cancers and all kinds of bullshit. Our bodies start to malfunction, our shit, the way we fucking pee, our brains are in a fog. We can't see shit. All this shit, we're overweight, right? All this shit is about us feeding the bullshit. And when you fast, guess what happens? The bullshit ain't got nothing to eat. They die. It dies and has to come out through your secretion, your shit, your piss, your sweat, right? So all of a sudden stuff starts passing through you. For most cases, if you guys haven't done a detox or a fast, that's just gonna suck. It's gonna suck. But you gotta do it. You should do it because ultimately it's in our best interest. We have abused our shit. We have abused our body to the point where we are walking around like the fucking living dead. We just can't see it. You might be struggling with shit. For the naysayers about muscle, right? People don't know that there's this thing called the human growth hormone. It's a hormone, right? And basically when there's no food, that's when the hormone is the strongest because of how we have evolved. Your body wants to protect your muscle and use your fat as energy, right? So your growth hormones are gonna protect you. You're not gonna lose muscle when you don't eat. Your body's amazing. Our bodies are amazing. And they carry on as much as possible. They're strong as they can be until there's a point where they're just like, fuck this, right? And unfortunately, the fuck this is coming a lot sooner than it did years ago. The fuck it is coming at 50 and 60, right? Whereas you could live to 110, 120 and be viable, to be vibrant. You could be alive. But our food is killing us. And we're just walking around, just kind of eating our bullshit, our bananas too, but our Big Macs and our fucking Five Guys and our pork fried rice and our fucking whatever, right? Our cakes and shit, right? Oblivious. Trust me when I tell you, it's coming, right? The water piece is we don't realize how much water we have in our bodies, right? Every cell, every fat cell that we have is majority water. So the whole dehydration concept is fairly bullshit. Now, should you not go without ever drinking water? Of course fucking not. Of course you should drink water. But do you have to drink water? Are you going to fix things better if you don't drink water? Yeah, you are. A dry fast is like a water fast or some other fast on crack. Because now all the shit is drying up. All the parasite, all the shit that you got going on in you has to dry up. That's our problem. We've created a place where internally bullshit can live and be vibrant. It has plenty of bullshit to live on, to eat off of, to be hydrated itself, right? When you take those variables out of the equation, all of a sudden shit has to start fixing itself. Do your homework. Don't trust what I'm telling you. Do your research. Do your research. Do dry fasting, fasting, soft fasting, hard dry fasting. Do your research. Don't trust me, right? But I'm telling you, we are sick and we are fat because we are eating. And until we get rid of our addiction from eating, you're gonna stay sick. You're gonna stay fat. You're gonna stay with issues popping up out of nowhere, right? While motherfuckers who are fasting, who have figured out how to live a fasting lifestyle, right, are happy, are vibrant, are focusing on other shit, right? They're not so, their every movement is not dictated by what they're going to eat, right? We got to fix it, folks. And for me, this is just the first of many conversations I want to have around this, because it's really a new direction that I'm moving, right? And in a lot of ways, a direction that I am going to be pushing people to, right? We got to stop eating, right? We got to stop it, right? Food is killing us, right? And our bodies are natural healers and fixers, right? Naturally, it's going to fix itself, right? And then when you fast, what happens is that when you get to that sweet spot of fasting, then all of a sudden you start putting good shit in your body, and your body starts to use it how it's supposed to be used, right? Much of the nutrients that we're eating now, it's not even getting to us. It's not getting to our skin. It's not getting to our fingernails, our hair, whatever, because there's so much other shit getting in the way, right? But once you get to that sweet spot, all of a sudden, you're doing better, right? So this is my initial gift to you on my birthday, right? The gift of fasting, right? I encourage you to think about it, to do your own research, to even ask me about it, right? If you got any questions about it, concerns about it, I get it, right? It's abnormal. It's not normal it's not a normal concept based upon the way we've been taught how to do things over the last 400 years, right? But trust me when I tell you, the history of humans on this planet, right? We have fasted more than we have eaten. In the history of human beings has always been about healthy. We weren't fat thousands of years ago. We just weren't. Thousands of years ago, there were fat people walking around, right? Overeating, because there wasn't food to overeat. You couldn't do that shit. You'd get killed if you overate, right? But now it's just how we get down. Most of us, because we're overweight and fat, we're not gonna make it to 80s and 90s. Fat motherfuckers don't make it that long. They don't live that long, right? It just doesn't work like that. Any of my fat friends, any of my fat friends, I mean like growing up, right? They're either dead or on their deathbed, or they're walking dead. You know what I mean? Like it's bad, right? You don't take it personal, because I'm fat myself. You know what I'm saying? It's just bullshit. But there was a point when I wasn't. You know what I mean? And even then, when I wasn't, I was sick and unhealthy. So don't assume that I'm talking about just like fat is a byproduct of an unhealthy lifestyle, just like cancer is, just like diabetes is in most cases, right? Or at least type 2, right? But that stuff is a result of living an unhealthy lifestyle. We're not supposed to be walking around here 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight. We're not supposed to be walking here 20 pounds overweight. So if you're over 20 pounds, if you're 20 pounds overweight, you need to stop it. You need to stop eating. You need to pick a day where I'm going to say, I'm not going to eat today. I'm going to eat tomorrow, right? Then that tomorrow, you say, the following day, I'm not going to eat, right? Then you're going to get to a point where, for 2 days, I'm not going to eat, and I'm going to eat on the third day, right? And then eventually you get to a point where you're living a fasting lifestyle and your body is able to take care of itself and do what it's supposed to. We're not gonna die. We've never died. Fucking polar bears, you know what polar bears do? Or bears in general? They go hibernate, right? Our bodies as mammals are directly connected to the seasons, time, the clock, right? And when the clock strikes 12 and it's time to go hibernate and live off the food of the body, then that's what they go do. And then they come out a few months later and they go start finding food. 3-month detoxes, and then they go find some food, right? And so don't think you are any different. You got plenty of energy. You got plenty of resources right there sitting on the side. That love handle that you got, your body got plenty to live off of, right? Some of y'all could go, if your mind was right, you could go 14, 21 days without eating. Legit, right? I could do that. I'm gonna put the challenge out there. Who wants to go for the next fast? I'll do it with you, right? You pick the amount of time and we'll do it together, right? I'm coming off my fast tomorrow when I wake up, right? Or not when I wake up, but mid-afternoon I wake up. And I'm gonna come off the fast with some water, some salt water, trying to get some of the nutrients back in, and eat some fruit and like that, but no bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But, that challenge is out there to y'all, right? Who wants to fast with me, right? I'm going to Atlanta. I'm going to try to stick to a script there, right? I'm probably going to have a hard time there, but when I touch down on Monday, I'm back at it, right? My goal is on Monday. My goal is on Sunday night, to be my final meal of the week, right? And then I'm going throughout the week with no food and no water. I'm doing another dry fast, right? Now this dry fast will be a soft dry fast because I plan on taking a shower and brushing my teeth and shit like that, because the dry fast has been no water, so not even brushing my teeth. I've been wiping my teeth down. It's crazy. But if you're ready, think about it. Do your own homework, right? Again, like I said, I'm going to be posting some more videos and talking more about this stuff. And, if you have any questions about it, leave them. Let me know what their questions are, so, we can talk about them, and maybe I can answer some of them questions in the videos. But for me, walking into this 45th year of my life, my goal, my plan, my decision is to live a fasting lifestyle, right? Meaning that I am not going to be a slave to the food, right? There's going to be more not eating than there is eating, right? And that my body is going to make sense of the food choices that I do make, right? And they're going to be conscious decisions, but they're going to be decisions that help build my body into what I want it to be and how I want it to feel, as opposed to being forced and dictated to by all this shit that gets promoted to us on a daily basis. In hindsight, I wouldn't promote any supplementation, protein powders, fucking creatines, and all this bullshit that I've advised and taken over the years. You don't need that shit, man. You know what I mean? You just don't need it, right? That's my birthday gift to you guys. If you got questions, I'm gonna post this in my, in some of my groups that I'm engaged in. But I think I'm gonna make a YouTube channel around it. So, if you have any questions, hit your boy up, and let's, figure this lifestyle out together. It's not for everybody. I don't think everybody's equipped mentally and emotionally for it. But I do think that there are plenty of people who it's just time. And if you do the homework, you do your research, you realize that much of your ailments, much of your shit that you're struggling with is about how you're abusing yourself with food, right? And if you just flip the script, if you just allow your body to get to that point where it starts to heal itself, recover, fix shit, you can deal with some of that shit. I've heard so many stories of people dealing with issues of diabetes and skin rashes and boils and fucking tumors disappearing because they fasted. you decide for yourself. Ultimately, if I can be able to help with it, let me know. Again, this is your boy Dre signing off from Boston, Massachusetts at the Fit Pit. July 17th. Happy birthday, Dre. Peace.